the reel-to-reel picture show. And now here's our host, Pat Fuller.
Our show offers you something that no other shopping show has to offer. Let me say that one more time.
You wanted to give your prizes here and that you were here for that great cause of anti-bullying. And there's no way that I can stand here and take all of that from you.
Hello everybody and welcome to another edition of Game Show Garbage. I'm Robert Seidelman. Now, one of the biggest pieces of memorabilia that a lot of people have is the home game of their favorite game shows. I got a couple of the better ones right here. I mean, I have the new 16th edition of Passport. I got this at a Goodwill years ago. It's still in pretty decent shape. And one of my favorites that I got off eBay back in 2004 was the home version of High Rollers. This is probably one of my favorites of all time, especially with the question book that actually feels like you're playing the show. I'll post pictures of this later on my Facebook page. But when we get to the late 80s and the early 90s with the big video game boom, we started to get video game adaptations, namely by Game Tech. We got Wheel of Fortune for the NES. This is a good one. And despite its controls for the physical challenges and the obstacle course, Double Dare is actually a pretty good one too. But of course, with all the good ones, you do get the outright crap. I talked about a plethora of them earlier, especially the Unholy Trinity, which is Funhouse, which does take the award for worst NES game of the game show genre, remote control, and oh yeah, win, lose, or draw. But then when we get to the Super Nintendo, you run into not only the worst game show home game of the Super Nintendo, but also one of the worst video games of all time, and that is Nickelodeon Guts. As the show questions, do you have it? I do, and it's fucking terrible! The game starts out with the Guts logo zooming out and a faithful but lethargic version of the theme song. I mean, the SNES version allowed for stereo tracks and also for good music for game shows, but nobody took advantage of it. Wheels was mediocre, but did sound about as lifeless as the 1992 theme. Jeopardy's tried, Family Feud was okay, and the less said about the bastardized American Gladiators theme playing nonstop throughout the game to make it an ungodly mess, the better! But the Guts theme here is disappointing because it's close to the actual theme, but doesn't have the actual oomph the actual theme had. Here's a comparison.
Do you have it? Do you have it? Do you have it? From Nickelodeon Studios in Orlando, Florida, welcome to Guts, action sports show that's gonna make you sweat. Do you have it? 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 Do you have it?
Honestly, I'd rather be watching this show right now than having to deal with this pile of garbage. Then we get to the menu. You got your basic menu selections of 1-player, 2-player, turning off the descriptions, the music, among other things. And since I couldn't find anybody who wanted to play this pile of garbage with me, I'll play solo. And since I've already tried out the game, I'll complete it in a full show. Next, you get to pick your characters. If you look closely at the one kid up top, you'll see that it's TNA wrestler Kenny King, or at least a younger version of him, who probably got paid a whole lot more to be in this game than he has in his entire career in TNA. Now, I know what you guys are thinking while looking at the game right now. The graphics and digitized images aren't that bad, the music is okay, so what makes this game worthy of being chucked into a fire? Well, it's all about the gameplay. Your first event is some sort of aerial event, and it's a burden to control. To start, you need to line up your character by hitting left or right. Well, seems easy, but then you control your jump bar by pressing down and then up. That's right, no A button or B button to use to jump, it's the D-pad. Makes the game even more frustrating. Another problem is the execution of the special shots. The regular shot is B and it works fine, but the special shot is executed by hitting X and Y together. I tried this multiple times in air events and it doesn't work at all, or it hardly works at all. True, a special move should be hard to pull off, but you can't make it so ball-breakingly hard just to get, what, 2 points? I mean, come on! That's Bush-level programming at its best. A big problem with this is that the round takes 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Look, I know it gives you ample time to score, but that makes the aerial events that much more boring to the point of monotony, to the point where you start to fall asleep while playing a game that is supposed to keep you going and based around a show that's all about action. American Gladiators didn't have this problem, and they had that game set to basically the set timers of the show, if not 5 to 10 seconds more than the actual show did. This just makes the game excruciatingly long and tedious. Another major problem is that the scoring system is broken as hell. Each shot nets you 5 points, while the special shot, if you could actually get it to work, gets you 10. I'll explain when I complain about the scoring system for the single-player mode in further detail in just a while. The other events that you play are all poorly done rotoscope platforming levels. Ugh. The first one is basic training, where you have to jump and run through a gigantic maze in the shortest amount of time to get the most points possible in single-player mode. Along the way, there are clocks you're supposed to pick up for extra time, stamina boosts, and a pen that gets you a bonus game to play. The problem with the power-ups is that most of them are too out of the way, so you waste the time bonuses you get in order to get back to the right path. At least the stamina boost and the bonus pennant have some use. Another major problem is that this level has is that you have to be pixel perfect in everything in this level, which is the same programming design as one of the worst Super Nintendo games of all time, Lester the Unlikely. Seriously, if your game reminds people of that horrible pile of crap, reconsider the existence of your game, because neither that game nor this game should be played for anybody whatsoever. But back to Guts. I talked about the pixel-perfect nature of the levels, but here's the biggest kick in the balls. You have to press X or Y to jump. Now, I've played lots of games for the Super Nintendo, and whenever you jump, you press B or sometimes A. X and Y are used for special weapons or to switch out weapons, not for jumping. This throws out any sorts of pick-up-and-play mentality that someone would have in a game that is aimed for kids. I mean, this is a game based on a kid's game show. In your commercial, you're aiming at these kids who can't make it to Universal and try out for Guts. Nobody's going to play this game if the controls are this ass backwards. It's basic gaming logic to make the controls usable to your target demographic. This is just garbage. That's not even griping on Tornado Run, which is just basically basic training but mirrored and with those platforms that look like they were from the show. These platforms are the pain in the butt as well. You have to jump on them with pinpoint accuracy, otherwise you'll fall off and waste more time. Other than that, it's the same level as before, but with 7 minutes instead of 6. To me, this is lazy programming, especially since Tornado Run plays nothing like basic training on the actual show. On the actual show, the contestants ran through a hazardous track, but nowhere on the track in the show was there platforming, water, ropes. Well, there's the vine wall, but that doesn't really count. But no poles or anything of the sort. It's just a mess. And now to my complaints about the scoring. Pay attention, there'll be a quiz later. In the aerial event, you get 5 points for each basket you make. So around 20 baskets is a good average, so that's 100 points per aerial game. Then you have the basic training / tornado run events, which take a good amount of time in order to complete it, for only 1 point per second left on the clock, being the best I could try to get is 150 points or so in both basic training and tornado run. Even if you do find the bonus pennant, that takes off another 10 to 20 seconds of time in each level, making about 130 points. Adding to the max you get for each bonus level, which is 100 points per bonus level, you're going to be short 30 to 40 points. But when you play the harder mode, the max in the bonus is 200 points, but you only need 100 more to get to the crag, making it much easier to get to the crag in the harder difficulty rather than the easier difficulty. Jesus Christ, this game is so bad it screwed up its own difficulty settings! It's to the point where I can't even get to the crag in single player. The only way I'm able to even show you the crag is to do it in the 2-player mode. But since this is the worst Super Nintendo game in the existence of gaming, hell, it will make you want to play Dirty Harry for the NES. You've got to ask yourself one question. Am I that desperate? Well, am I? Yes, I am. So let's get started. Now we can talk about the Crag, and it's the same thing as basic training. Well, more annoyances that somehow resemble kind of what the cadets went through on the Crag, but others that are the trope video game obstacles that make me cringe. You have waterfalls which obscure your vision, you have to do some more pole and rope work, the green boulders which actually did exist on the show, smoke blasts which I think were on the show in some capacity but not quite sure, and then the disappearing rare clearing platforms. Seriously, I thought these were awful in Mega Man and other games. Having them here is like having your balls being kicked repeatedly and then being told you were adopted. Along the way, you have to jump on the actuators in order to make them work instead of just walking on them. I don't know why. Programming issues, I guess. After all that, your orders that your chosen character is hoisting up a piece of the radical rock. At least the music is a faithful representation of it, and it's like the ending to the actual show. But that is where the niceties end. This is one of the worst experiences I ever put myself through for this site. I mean, hell, I've watched Love Triangle. I've watched Hidden Agenda. I've watched Take It All. Big Saturday Night, Shoppers Casino, all of the game shows hosted by Pat Bullard. And I'll tell you this right now. When it comes to excruciating pain, nothing compares to this pile of crap. I mean, other people out there on the internet, especially here on YouTube, have felt this pain. I mean, it broke up the game, Grumps.
Now,
Why?
how is you knowing more than me at how to play the game fair? How is that fair? How does me knowing exactly what you know so that we can do things equally unfair to you?
Because what are you talking about?
I just wanted to know how to land on the platform. That's all I wanted to know. You know how to do it, but you won't tell me. And that makes me lose automatically because I'm losing time.
No, it's fucking Nickelodeon Guts on SNES.
Oh! Oh, okay. Well, that makes it okay then.
Hell, even to continue, you guys were dead on, especially when Josh said about this game, which went...
That game is the cause of all cancer since 1997.
Is that when it came out? 97? Yes. We have not advanced as a human race since 1997
That's
because
true.
of this game.
We haven't
This
been
game
back
is
to
not
the
a-
moon because of this game.
It was guts. NASA put all their technology into this game.
But seriously, this is like the Antichrist of gaming. I mean, hell, I play bad games. I mean, I kind of enjoy playing bad games. But this game makes me want to play Hide Glide, Deadly Towers, and Ride to Freaking Hell in a marathon. Oh, by the way, I own all three. But seriously, do not, and I repeat, do not buy this pile of shit. I mean, what's the point to this? There's nothing to this. This has got the worst controls for the Super Nintendo. The graphics are fine, but graphics are the be-all, end-all of gaming. You gotta be able to play the game. And especially when it's a game to kids, kids have to play this. Kids can't play this. Adults can't play this. Nobody can play this. This game is garbage in every sense of the word. I'm Robert Seidelman, and I'm fucking done.